Hello, everyone. It's an honor to be standing here in front of you amazing people today. And no, this is not a bribe to vote for our team. But today, we will be talking about self-driving cars. But before we get into that, a quick introduction. My name is Lois.
My name is Givmo.
And I am Kuda.
Yeah, so let's get right into it. Throughout this conference, a lot has been said about AI. But today, we're narrowing it down and focusing on self-driving cars. So in 2022, the market size for global autonomous cars was estimated $121 billion. Out of this, the United States contributed $36.4 billion. You do a quick math, and that's 40% of the global market size. Over the next 8 years, by 2032 to be precise, this number is projected to hit over $2 trillion. Now that's a huge number. That's an annual growth rate of 35%. Now, why am I telling you this? What do these numbers mean? Believe it or not, these numbers are only a fraction of what the wider technological industry is worth. And today we're going to talk about that. So to get into it, we will go over self-driving cars, give you a crash course, if you will, on self-driving cars, understand some risk involved, and give some recommendations. So first off, what are self-driving cars? Here's an analogy, right? A lot of us drive here. A lot of us maybe drove here, maybe flew here. But think about when you're driving to your home or you're driving to your work. A lot of it is muscle memory, so you're not overthinking it. But let's think about that for a second. Not only are you looking at the cars in front of you, you're looking at the cars behind you, to your side, you're looking at the stop signs, the traffic lights, making sure that you're a safe driver, I hope. So what are self-driving cars? These are technologies that take in the conditions around them, including pedestrians, traffic signals, and use that to make decisions, wise driving decisions. So here's a high-level overview of self-driving cars. When a lot of people think of autonomous cars, what they're really referring to is a level 5 fully automated car. So according to the SAE, there's a 6-level classification system, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But what's currently available on the market? So on our markets, cars labeled level 2 and lower are approved for use on our roads. Anything above that has only been approved solely for testing, because there simply is not enough research to back the use of level 3 and up cars. Then we'll get into a little bit about self-driving technologies and the mechanism behind self-driving cars. So getting into that SAE classification system, and SAE, by the way, stands for the Society of Automotive Engineers. There's 6 levels of classification, with level 0 being no automation of any driving functions, and level 5 being full automation. So your level 2 car is your typical car with advanced driving systems. Think of autopilot or lane-assisted driving or parking assist. For level 3, 4, and 5, the car takes a little bit more control. And at level 5, the car is basically driving on its own. You could read a book and drive to work. So how do self-driving cars work? Let's talk a little bit about the technology. And without getting too deep into the weeds or getting too technical, there's 3 things I want you to take away from this slide. We have sensors. So back to our driving analogy, in the same way you take in your environment to be able to make sure that you're making wise driving decisions, self-driving cars are reliant on radars and cameras to take in their environment and the infrastructure around them to be able to know where to go and what to do. The next is AI and machine learning, which I'm sure you've heard a ton about over the course of the conference. Machine learning is an amazing invention, right? We have a machine that is taking in data from the environment, being trained on that data, and it's able to see previously unseen data and make predictions. And this is exactly what self-driving cars are doing. The third is connectivity. Right? Not only are vehicles driving in isolation, they're interacting with other vehicles as well as infrastructure to enhance safety, traffic flow, and overall efficiency. So with that high-level overview out the way, I'd like to shift gears into talking about some of the risk involved in self-driving cars. I'll pass it on to Kuda.
Thank you, Lois. And I'll continue the conversation about the risks. And I say conversation because I realize that we're not all experts here. but we believe that by taking a holistic approach and having a collaboration together from different minds, we can actually come up with some solutions for this new risk. And so currently what we have is, accidents are typically caused by human error, bad judgment, or distractions. But with artificial intelligence and also self-driving cars, things get more, complex, because sure, these cars can actually help us to reduce some of those errors. However, if a system malfunctions, some of those sensors were to happen, well, the big question that people want the answers to is who is going to be responsibility for that liability? And so is it going to be the driver's fault, the manufacturer's fault, or is it going to be the software designer's fault? And that is a good question. We've already seen what's currently happening on the market in 2018, where a Tesla self-driven car got into an accident, and when they went to court, we were able to see how blurry these lines of responsibilities can get. So we as insurers might actually need to be very specific in our policies and make them airtight and very specific when we're writing to make sure who is responsible for what. And again, I need to talk about pricing, because we are used to methods where we look at historical information and try to predict what's going to happen in the future, and then we put a price on it. However, with self-driving cars, these sensors are very sophisticated and they need to be updated constantly, maybe on a yearly basis. And so we might have information from 10 years back, but is it really relevant anymore because the software has updated? So that's a good question, and we might actually need to think of different ways of pricing, maybe using telematic devices and so forth. And on the next slide, I'm going to get into more of the specific risks, such as cybersecurity, technological complexity, and also the ethical considerations. When we talk about cybersecurity, I want you to imagine of a car as a computer but on wheels. So what that essentially means is a hacker can find a way to actually control your device remotely, and that is a huge risk, because this is not sci-fi anymore. It's a risk that can, immobilize a whole fleet, and it will cause problems. So what do we think will happen? That's a good question. Well, we need to find answers to that, and my colleague Givmore is going to give us the answers in the next slides. But again, if we think of technological complexity, these sensors are very expensive, and some of the repair costs that we'll need to experience when something happens is huge, and will also require some very high expertise from our underwriters when they are writing these businesses. And again, let's not forget about the technological complexity and the ethical considerations, because bias in these algorithms can cause problems, and we also need to convince the human population to be able to want to buy these cars, because again, confidence is a big impact in the market. So are they convinced to have total 100% cars on the roads who are autonomous? That's also another good question. And last but not least, I would want to mention about regulation, because we know our industry is heavily regulated for good reasons. And so today, if I'm doing a business and here I'm in Des Moines, Iowa, I need to make sure that if I'm doing business in California or in Iowa, there's some formal or standardization of the rules and regulations that we're going to follow. Now, I understand these risks might feel a little bit overwhelming. However, the insurance industry has adapted from changes in the past, and we believe that we can actually take these risks not only as a risk, but rather as an opportunity. And my colleague Givmore is going to give you the recommendations on the next slide.
Thank you so much, Kuda. Let us steer us through a future where technology takes the wheel, eliminating the path insurance companies must treat to ensure the safe integration of self-driving cars into our lives. On embracing collaboration, insurance companies should actively collaborate with automakers, tech companies, and regulatory bodies. This gives insight into potential risks associated with autonomous vehicles. By creating risk-sharing pools, insurers can produce policies aligning with self-driving cars' evolving landscapes, offering a greater flexibility and adaptive structures. This spreads risk and prevents any company from bearing an overwhelming burden. Such collaboration ensures a holistic understanding of self-driving technology, leading to improved risk assessment and fair policy pricing. Comprehensive autonomous vehicle data can be outsourced from underwriting organizations such as Lloyd's of London or even the surplus lines industries. This can achieve real true cost fairness between insurance firms and autonomous vehicle developers. Utilizing telematics, like Kuda said, insurers can gather detailed information, performance, and vehicle speed, location to determine liability accurately. This allows insurers to move beyond traditional risk assessment and tailor policies based on actual behavior, enhancing underwriting accuracy. Insurers can distinguish between safe, autonomous, and risk policies with accurate data-driven insight. On proactive cybersecurity focus, self-driving cars face various cyber threats, including remote software exploitation, data breaches, and sensor data manipulation, which can compromise vehicle control and such as and safety. Additional insider threats such as employees' access to sensitive data can pose risk to system integrity. Regular cyber risk assessment should be conducted to evaluate the vulnerability of self-driving car system to such threats. Insurance firms can offer specialized cybersecurity coverage for autonomous vehicles through police riders, protecting against hacking and data breaches. This proactive approach ensures passenger safety and safeguards insurance from potential large-scale claims and adverse selections. Insurance products such as employee key life insurance and business overhead expenses policies can mitigate risk associated with key personnel in autonomous vehicle companies. And this can ensure continuity in vehicle production in the event of any personnel loss. Reimagining liability coverage. Autonomous vehicle is driving down the cost of people owning and reducing the number of people who feel the need to own their cars. This will bring different policies covering cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, and GPS systems. Insurers should invest in telematics that focus on services like predictive analysis, allowing customers access to online tools that will enable them to monitor driving performance and help them save fuel cost. Self-driving technology involves a mix of human and automated control. Insurance policies should reflect this hybrid responsibility. As self-driving cars become more prevalent, insurers may need to shift focus from individual driver liability to product liability. This means holding accountable manufacturers for any defects in autonomous systems. Moving on to the last slide, this is just a summary of what I just said. I'll pass it to Luz to conclude and wrap it up.
Yeah, so a lot has been said today, but if there's one thing I want you to take away, our key risks that we identified were technological complexities, cyber threats, and ethical consideration. And to put it all together, I'll leave you with this quote from Abraham Maslow. If you know the pyramid of needs, you've probably heard that name. It says, in any given moment, we have two options: to step forward into growth or step back into safety. We here at the at-large member team are advocating that we innovate, collaborate, and educate. Thank you.
Thank you so much.